Could you imagine a goalie like on his back and like they pushed him over? He's grabbing his skate and just throwing him out.
Hi there! Welcome to Not So Mid-Major. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We need all the viewers we can get.
So thank you and welcome back everyone to another video. I mean, we're going to be continuing on hockey. I know we traditionally talked about basketball, college basketball before this. I know I had my own little video segment where I was talking about NBA players that were from mid-major colleges, but college basketball isn't happening, and I don't know, is it going to happen this year? Do you think it's going to happen this year? I want it to happen this year. Is it going to?
That.
So we're just in the meantime, we're just waiting for all that to happen. But we have hockey. Hockey is going on. I'm a big fan of hockey. As you can tell from behind me, I am a big San Jose Sharks fan. Rick is just kind of getting into the hockey scene. And
so here's what I like about hockey. I love college basketball because it's fast-paced and it's team-oriented. Hockey, like I was thinking about it earlier today, and I feel like if you just got like the 5 best players ever and you paid them a crap ton of money and you made them your first line and then you just kind of filled in the other 3 lines, you would probably lose more than you won because your bottom 3 lines would keep getting scored on and your top line wouldn't be able to keep it up. And so there's a lot of parity in there, just like there is in college basketball. And so that's why I've suddenly been like, you know, I could watch hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've definitely been watching a lot of hockey, especially since the return to the playoffs. Trying to figure out who is going to be the best team this year, even though this might be like that asterisk year of, well, you kind of won, but it was in like an off-season year, but you technically won like 19 games actually instead of the 16.
So the Astros could win 2 years in a row with asterisks next to them.
Yes, they can. So anyways, with this video, what we want to talk about was something that an NBC sports analyst for hockey said on Twitter. It's Mike Milbury, who is on NBC talking about hockey. He was an NHL player. He played for the Boston Bruins his entire career, and he did coach the Bruins as well as the Islanders. So this is kind of his backstory. What he mentioned on Twitter, and I'm going to read this word for word to you, Rick. On another worldly night, Space Needle is an appropriate backdrop. Insane Columbus-Tampa Bay game. God bless both teams for a great effort. Even though I believe we should end these games sooner via 3v3 or shootout after a time. What do you think?
I think that wasn't the Space Needle.
He also posted that photo, which actually I did a little bit of research on this. It is in Toronto. It is called the Toronto Space Needle. It is not the Space Needle like us Americans think of when we think of Seattle. By the way, they are just going to get a team this coming, in the 2021 season. Seattle did just get a team, so everyone has that hot on their mind. But yes, this is still called the Toronto Space Needle. So yes, I too agreed with you. I didn't think that, I thought it was funny that he was calling it the Space Needle, not knowing, us dumb Americans not knowing that it was the Toronto Space Needle. But I mean, what his point was saying like we need to speed up overtime hockey. The Tampa Bay and Columbus game went to 5 overtimes. Meanwhile, we've had 6 games so far that went into overtime, and a total of 11 overtimes. If you let's not figure out the clock situation. It's just been into a overtime period for 11 overtime periods. So in these 6 games, we've had almost 4 extra hockey games that we've been able to see for free, essentially. His solution is to, instead of a 5-on-5, like a normal hockey game, his solution was a 3-on-3 or shootout.
But that's not hockey.
But but how do we make these games faster? Because we've already had a 5 overtime that we've seen this year.
2 of them, haven't we?
No, we've just had 1 5 overtime.
Okay.
But we've had a 2 overtime game as well so far. And then the rest were just 1 overtimes.
Okay.
So his consideration is, how do we make those games faster? 3v3 and then a shootout, like what we kind of do during the season? Or what? What are your thoughts as a casual fan of hockey? What are your thoughts on, instead of like a 5-on-5, a 3-on-3? Because I know you've seen some 3-on-3 games.
I've seen some. It's a completely different game. In that there's a lot more flow, there's a lot more line changes, and you just don't see the same team dynamics. It's a fun game, but I think somebody who's good at 3-on-3 could be terrible at 5-on-5 and vice versa. And so that doesn't maintain that parity. I think you need to find ways to keep 5 guys on the ice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Definitely when we get into these 3-on-3 situations, for me, it's a little bit of a slower game. It's a little bit more chess-like game, especially what you see a lot of these teams will go into the zone and kind of get some passes around, maybe take a shot, and then come out of the zone if they still have possession, if they don't feel like that's their opportunity. So I think it definitely does change up the game on a 3-on-3. However, what about his second suggestion? A shootout. Now think about this. Shootout. This isn't just saying which team's going to move on to the next round. This could be the team to decide who wins the Stanley Cup is based on a shootout. Now, this isn't a new idea, not a new concept. This happens in soccer. Mm-hmm. That's how you determine who the MLS champion is. That's how you determine who is any champion in soccer. If it's like MLS, if it's Euro clubs, if it's the UEFA Championship, if it's the World's Cup.
Right.
Those have been decided in a shootout for them.
Yeah.
What about for hockey? Stanley Cup hockey. Games like Stanley Cup is on the line.
Game
7. You've gone through all those overtimes. It goes to a shootout. It's just you and the goalie. Freaking the Mighty Ducks of the Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah.
That situation determines who is going to win the Stanley Cup. How do you feel about that versus the already system of a 5-on-5?
I think it should not go immediately to a shootout. That is very obvious and just no. Like, I think there needs to be extra innings, but how many extra periods, extra halves, extra quarters, extra time segments? Because you have 3 halves or however it works. I don't know. Yeah, hockey's weird. It's like 3-4 time. Like, why have 3-4 time? Like, anyway. So where am I going with this? Like, when you bring up European football, it makes total sense. Because
they do have like that extra time that they go in. There is an overtime for them.
They have stoppage, and then they have OT, then they have double OT, then they go to a shootout.
Yes.
And so, like, if after 2 OTs there's nothing there, shootout doesn't sound bad, but I also feel like your defense, like your team defense is a part of the game. Like, all too often I see one of the a player take the puck off the knee or the face or like the stick instead of the goalie saving it. And so that's a huge part of your defense. And so removing that is very difficult. And so my first thought with that then is have it, if you're doing a shootout, add a defender. But then I feel like the advantage there is on defense, so then maybe take the stick away from the defender. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, for me, I've grown up watching the sport. Like, I didn't play the sport. I've been a fan of the Sharks my entire life. I don't know how I feel about that shootout.
Right?
I don't.
It's not hockey.
It's not, but it's like I don't want it. Like I said, it's Game 7 is on the line. You're coming back. You get to the overtime situation. You go through overtime, and then it's settled by probably the most boring aspect of the game, which is a shootout. Now, that's different than a penalty shot. Penalty shots happen during the game. Maybe you got that momentum going. You're jazzed up. Yes, we got a penalty shot. It's my time. Like, that's definitely like my time to decide this. Now, shootout, where it's like first 3 guys versus the other first 3 guys. That, it's not the same. Like,
no.
It's not that same mentality of, okay, I got that breakaway situation. I got that hooking call. Now it's my turn to, like, shine for my team. Like that's different if it's a penalty shot.
Yeah.
Now if it's a shootout, it's just like, okay, like we're just kind of going through the motions right now. So I don't like that idea. I want it to be settled in a traditional hockey fashion of either if we do it like a 3-on-3, which I'm kind of back and forth on. I like that 5-on-5. Maybe we go back to the old rule of a 4-on-4, because that used to be the 3-on-3 overtime hockey. It used to be 4-on-4 overtime hockey.
Well, it can be if you pull the goalies.
Right. But then you'd be down a goalie. But I mean, that might be the solution to maybe meet in the middle, is to go on a 4-on-4 hockey, because that still has some pace to it.
Or
It's
embrace
not
the roots of hockey, settle it in the ring.
just straight up go fighting. So that's where I
Goalie
stand.
fight! That's what it is! Goalie fight to decide the winner!
Goalie fights just meet in the center circle. Basically sumo wrestlers.
Yeah.
You can just see them both in pads, just like...
You tuck a puck into each of their jerseys, and the winner is whoever gets one of the goalies into the other person's net.
Just push them back out. That would be funny. But that's where I stand on this. Like with what Mike Milbury says. Like I don't want it to be settled in shootout. Maybe start pulling one guy off the ice, but it needs to be that traditional hockey fashion of who's going to win. But I want to bring up that point in that. What are some other ways we can make overtime interesting? How else can we make overtime interesting or speed it up? Like that's what his point was. Like how do we speed up overtime? How do we not get these 5 overtimes that never happen? That's the thing that I don't agree with him. These never happen. It always is usually settled in that first overtime.
Oh yeah.
But if it does go to a second overtime, what should happen in that second overtime?
Well, one could be, if you commit a penalty, you don't go to the penalty box, you go to the bench, and your team is just permanently down a player to a minimum of 3.
Just for the rest of
overtime.
Well, for you'd be down, so it'd be 5-on-5 hockey. You'd just be down 4. So you have 4 players.
You'd have 4 players, and then after that 2 minutes is up, when you'd originally go back out to the ice, you can't.
You just have 4 players on the ice the entire time. Like,
Yes.
So say you commit the penalty like a minute into the game,
Sucks
or
to
a
suck.
minute into the period.
Sucks
you
to
have
suck.
19 minutes of just 4 guys.
Yeah. Hope your PK unit's good.
Well, okay, that could be that would be an interesting rule.
And then if the other team commits a penalty, then they get pull a guy, and then now you're at your 4-on-4.
So then hockey is 3-on-3 then.
Yeah.
That's the minimum you can.
Yeah,
have.
and so it can go down to a minimum 3-on-3.
Okay, so just 3-on-3. But then what's the penalty situation like on a 3-on-3?
You can't have less than 3. So I guess they have to go to the bench. Maybe they're done for the game.
Oh, they would just have to sit out the rest of the...
They can't sub back in.
Yeah, so they would have to sit out the rest of the overtime period and then come back after that. So if it's their second overtime, like they get that they're down 3-on. It's 3-on-3. They get that penalty. There's still time left on the clock. Second period. Do they come out for the third period?
Nope.
No. Just
No.
straight up. They're done.
No, it's attrition at that point.
Okay. And then you're just gonna have say it goes five overtimes.
Yeah.
You've had probably at least half your bench gets a penalty.
DQ.
So there's half your guys that have to play 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight or some way, you're on the ice for a minute, you're off the ice on a minute,
Yeah.
then you're back on the ice
Yeah.
on the next. Oh jeez, you're gonna get so tired.
But you're gonna get a result.
Yes, you can get a result.
Alternatively, if you don't want to go that extreme, just every time there's a stoppage, the team at fault has to take off 1 piece of gear.
Oh god, that would be worse.
So every time there's an icing call, the team that iced it, they lose a piece of gear. Every time the goalie makes a save and stops the puck, that team loses a piece of gear.
That's gonna be way too extreme. I say, what if instead of it's kind of like on your system.
Mm-hmm.
What if you get into the second overtime, you can only have 4 guys on your defensive half, then you have the one cherry picker that's he's on the other side of the red line.
I would flip it.
But that's why I think you just have the one designated cherry picker. That would be his position. And it's not like the other team can defend him. The other team has to be in their offensive blue line if the puck is in the offensive zone. So then you can just throw the puck to the other side. He has a breakaway going on. So that might speed up the game. You have the instant breakaway. It's just you on the goalie.
I'm kind of curious what it'd be like if the goalie came out and guarded him. just bodied him.
That could be the defensive strategy, but you cannot have a defender guarding that guy. Everyone has to be in the offensive blue zone. That's my solution to.
But that's really hard because how do you, as the ref, how do you determine whether or not a player is looping, is like at the back of the offensive zone playing the backstop versus taking their time getting to the offensive? Like, how do you put, like, what is the time frame that a player can not be on the offensive zone? Because
once the puck enters the zone, like, how much time do you need to like get?
Because what happens if there's a breakaway, and so all of a sudden, like, now you have 4 guys in defense and 1 guy in the offense, and do you get reverse offsides because you don't have all 5 people in the offensive zone?
Maybe. I mean, just give them like 5 seconds. Like, the puck is in there, you have 5 seconds to get in there.
Okay.
If you're on a line change, maybe add like a second or 2. That might be able to speed up the game.
Maybe.
Like I said, you're just in the defensive zone. I just want to see you just chuck the puck on the other side. He just has an instant breakaway. That might be the solution to.
What about just adding hand passes?
Just straight. I think Colorado is gonna be upset with you about that one, Rick. I don't think the Avs fans are gonna like you about that one. But maybe like just hit the puck out of the air.
Yeah. Just yeet the puck.
Yeah, as long as I agree. Like, as long as you just don't close your glove on the puck, you can't catch it and then throw it. Like, it has to be an open hand slap.
No, you just reduce the rules. You say the goal must be scored by a puck off of a stick. That is it.
Just so imagine if you're like a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
You have the puck in your hand. You see whoever's in front of the net. Throw it at their stick. You're just that good at deflecting it that way.
You can have fun with that. No goalies.
After how long though? There's no way you
at the end of third.
Okay, after 3 overtime. So we're having the first overtime is just a regular overtime, 5-on-5, just regular rules. Second overtime, what are we implementing? What's our rule? Are we doing the cherry pick rule as the second overtime rule?
I just don't like that rule because it's hard to enforce, and then and really it's going to be whoever wins the OG face-off has a very strong I don't see it getting past like 3 minutes of the second overtime if you have cherry pickers.
Okay. So first overtime is just a regular overtime. Our second overtime was what was your original idea? Was
the penalties are just permanent?
Oh, and the penalties are permanent. So you have to. So if you get a penalty, your team is down a man for the rest of the time.
Yes.
During that.
And if you get a penalty when you're at 3 men, you're
just done with the game. It's a game misconduct essentially for that.
And you're ejected.
And then our third overtime is that we're just not going to play with goalies.
Yeah.
We're just gonna hope for the best without any goalies for like anything. So like
you're allowed to play goalies, but they cannot go into the blue semicircle.
They have to stay out of that.
Yeah.
They have to stay out of it.
Regular players can go into the blue semicircle, but if you're wearing goalie pads, you're not allowed in the blue semicircle. Now I said goalie pads. So if your goalie wants to change and stay in goal, they can.
So say like you're down to your 3 men.
Yeah.
Would you be allowed a 4th skater in that sit?
You could go empty net in that.
Okay, so you can go empty net with a 4th skater, so you can get back that man in the third overtime.
Yeah.
Okay. Somehow, let's imagine.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to be 3 people.
Yeah.
On that time. Okay. So you're 3-on-3. Just you don't have a goalie.
Yeah.
You're just basically blocking shots with your body.
Yeah.
And you're not playing. We're still implementing the penalty rule. So if you get a penalty, you're just done for the game. Still.
Yeah.
Third overtime. Let's say if we make it past this third overtime.
Okay.
What's our next rule that we have? So assuming that we literally probably just have like 8 guys for each team at that point. No goalies.
So how many of you guys have ever watched The Big Game? Because that's where this inspiration comes from. Is you sell public skate admission. and you open up the rink to public skate. They have to follow the traffic pattern and just do circles, but
you have to be going clockwise around the ring for normal people, just somehow causing that traffic.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, hockey players, you had 2 hours to get your game done.
At least you probably had like 4 hours or 5 hours at this point.
Yeah, so we have to make our money at this hockey rink. Like, I'm sorry, like. This is general admission time.
And you probably have all your concessions closed at this point.
Yeah.
Concessions end probably before overtime. It's usually like halfway through third period.
Yeah. So that's how we do it.
Just general skate for the fourth overtime.
Cassandra needs to do ballet practice, so let her go do her friggin' skating.
Getting practice for those Olympic events that she's preparing for the next Olympics.
Yeah, there we go. Public skate on the ice.
Okay, so we've made it past 4 overtimes.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the
fifth overtime.
The fifth overtime, because that's where the
all right. We're not doing
Columbus.
We're not doing the fifth overtime. We're doing shootouts, but
what's the
we're not using any paid players.
So you just get one of those fans that are just going around the ice.
But they have to be wearing your team's jersey. Like, they have to have come to the game
in a jersey
for your team. And one of them plays goalie, and then somebody in the opposing team's jersey goes out there and...
Oh, so even goalies can't even be your...
Correct.
What's the situation right now? Like, obviously we're
quarantined. You're gonna pay real close attention to who those season ticket holders are now, aren't
you? So I mean, we're in quarantine right now. Obviously, like we're in these bubble cities, which is Edmonton and Toronto. Edmonton and Toronto have been eliminated, but they're still in these bubble cities of Edmonton, Toronto.
Yeah.
How do you get those fans in there?
Oh, so if we're in quarantine, it's easy. I've seen the GMs in attendance.
Yes! No, yes. So you get your general manager and your assistant general manager, like down the, or no, it's your general manager and your president.
Yep. Give him a stick, give him some skates, tell him to go shoot some penalty shots.
It's just those two guys back and forth on a penalty shot. That's how we're going to decide who wins the Stanley Cup. Is just your general manager is taking a penalty shot against the other team's president.
Yep.
Okay, yes, I agree. This would be an amazing penalty. This is how we're going to decide overtime. Somehow, if we can get through like 4 overtimes, our 5th overtime is just like, okay, we're done. We're going to give up. We're going to do that shootout, but in the most ridiculous scenario.
Literally, may the best team win. Team. Full team.
We are including the president of the organization and the general manager of this organization. So we're going beyond the roster players and the coaches and the goalies. Okay, no, I agree. That's how we're going to do it. That's how we've solved NHL right now. We've solved playoff hockey.
Yeah.
So I think we've solved NHL. Is there anything that we've missed out on? There might be some crazier ideas out there. I want to know what those ideas are.
I think we can explore goalie fights a little bit more.
The sumo wrestler goalie fights. Let's do it. I want to see just goalies and their goalie pads trying to push each other out of the circle as best they can. Could you imagine a goalie like on his back and like they pushed him over? He's grabbing his skate and just throwing him out. That's how we're gonna do it.
So he's holding him by his legs, skating down the ice.
All right. So what are the crazy ideas that you guys have? Please leave a comment down below. Please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to this video as well. We have our Twitter page down below. Where once college basketball season comes back, we'll definitely start talking about more college basketball. But please let us know if you want to see us talk about hockey more in the future. But until the next time, please stay safe and please stay healthy. And we'll see you in the next video.